So apparently, we got some cheaters in the house. I watched the first like minute and I was like, oh, this is interesting. What? Be like, no more of that. I don't want any fun of my table.
Yeah, no one can believe you're gonna fold this.
I can't believe you're gonna fold this,
dude.
You
literally can't fold anything in this game.
And everything in between. Running off, I'd say technically low fuel, but I feel great. I got about 6 hours sleep. So I was thinking, why not have some little react time? And I was watching this video anyway. So apparently, we got some cheaters in the house. Apparently, we got some poker cheaters. And by the way, let's subscribe to Alex Duval. I don't know who this is, but let's like the video as well. Let's fucking go. Let's find out if somebody's actually cheating. I watched the first like minute and I was like, oh, this is interesting. What's going on?
The guy in question.
I watched the first 30 seconds apparently.
I'm going to break down how this guy right here cheated on the Hustler live stream tonight.
I might be down to gamble. Here, that's what I have. Can I see what you have?
You have an over, I swear to God.
7-8-10.
No.
Alright, so Antonio, I assume is a big whale, shows his cards after this guy squeezes and shows that he has Queen 6 suited. And this guy has pocket jacks and obviously wants this guy to put in more money, so shows him a jack. He's obviously saying he doesn't have ace jack or queen jack, which perhaps to a whale sounds like, oh, that means my Queen 6 might be good or live or something like that. But it's very obvious from the perspective of anyone at the table that this guy can just have pocket jacks or can have king jack even, which would have similar equity as ace jack does against Queen 6.
I don't have, I swear to God.
Run it twice for that. You have it. Show me before I do it.
Alright, so this guy I think just said call and run it twice. Oh, he doesn't say call. I think he just says run it twice for that, which should be binding. If that's allowed in the casino, that should be binding. See, I don't even know if that's dirty play. If you saw someone like Negreanu and Sami Farhad do this back in high stakes poker, I think you'd be like, oh, they're just fucking around. They're just trying to angle each other. You know, it's just a friendly game of poker where they're trying to get one up on each other. This guy's don't want to tab shame him, but there's a lot of poker bunny.
That is so He said call run it twice.
I don't know if he actually said the word call. I don't know about that one. Just as a side note, this is the casino where I heard the commentator say, and because of COVID rules, if the players want to drink any water, they have to step 10 feet away from the table. That's why you see the players getting up so much. Who decided that we were going to fight virus with everybody sitting together, breathing, spitting on chips, sneezing on each other, just licking everyone, and then being like, 1 second, water break. I'm doing my part for society. Glug, glug, glug. Glug, glug, glug. Thank you very much. You're welcome, guys.
But he was just saying, oh, you have one over, you have one over. So he was really trying to angle him to get him to call.
Wait, no, he wasn't. Mr. Duval, nice to meet you, brother. He wasn't trying to angle him. He told him the truth, and even if he weren't telling him the truth, you know, what about that Tony G hand where it's like, I promise I haven't looked at my cards.
I'm not looking. I haven't looked. I don't care. I know it's a random hand, and I got a random hand.
People were pretty forgiving of that one, and this is nowhere near that much. That level of of bad etiquette. He showed him that he has a jack and says, I promise you have one over, which he does. And then says, I don't have ace jack or queen jack, which he doesn't. And then the other guy says, let's run it. So, I mean, so far, I'm very much disagreeing with Mr. Duval.
Really trying to screw his friend over.
It's poker. He's trying to take his money. Obviously, there's a fine line between angling and lying. And it's one that I tend to try to stay pretty far away from because people are, very sensitive to these things. So fair enough. But at the same time, this was nowhere near the line. You know, he didn't even lie. He was extraordinarily honest about his hand. I don't know. One of the things that I love about private games is that you can do those kind of shenanigans. you know, you can mess around with people and, you know, say, okay, fuck it, I'll take my 1 card against your 2 cards. You give me 2 to 1. You know, something some just random shit. And be like, no more of that. I don't want any fun of my table. You know?
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting. The commentator.
Shout out to Poker Bunny, Mr. Duval's favorite poker player apparently. Mr. Duval, Alex, my friends, you weren't just watching Poker Bunny on YouTube. You were watching the video that says Poker Bunny and taking all of the individual hands so you can show us. I take back my tab shaming. It was a terrible misstep from me, and I apologize, and I can only ask for forgiveness, and I'll do better.
So they're playing a multi-way pot. This is happening quite
What's up,
often.
Mirage?
Skills rocks, this guy that's the cheater, he ends up flopping 2 pair. And Antonio has top pair, and Barry has an open-ended straight draw.
Oh, so this is going to be a very telling spot. Did he actually see his hand or not? Because he's supposedly seen this guy's hand. So if he can just magically get away on the turn, then it you know, in this spot you're meant to probably double this guy up, or at least you're meant to give him a ton of chips. If you can magically get away from it, then something fishy is going on.
Antonio reacting to something under the table. So right there, you can just.
Wow.
So right there, you can just see Antonio reacting to something under the table. This guy.
Or he's a
just
very
kicked him under the table.
Spontaneous
He sees that the
break
turn
dancer.
gave Barry a straight. Obviously, he knows what his cards are, and he just kicked him under the table.
It's the pot. Here.
Oh, and then he's gonna look under the table and, you know, just pretend like.
There's a video on YouTube of that girl angling. I watched the Poker Bunny angle one. It wasn't an angle.
He said, "Why are you hitting my foot?" And Barry's like, "What the hell is going on, right?" But Antonio still doesn't know what's going on, and he literally just keeps putting chips in the middle. Skills Rocks was trying to kick me to, like, tell me something. Like, he still doesn't understand that, and now Skills Rocks has to kind of defend and say, "Oh no, I don't know what happened."
Really bad. Are y'all kicking each other? No, I'm moving my fucking foot.
This dude's a scumbag.
Yeah, no, I'm
Money right now.
agreed. That doesn't seem okay. That seems super not okay. But we'll find out. We'll find out what's about to happen. You know, perhaps he is just moving his foot.
Yeah, no one can believe you're gonna fold this.
I can't
because
believe you're gonna fold this,
You
dude.
literally can't fold anything in this game. Like, there's no other way this guy would know to fold this hand other than having seen his cards.
Yeah,
It's just like not possible.
I'm
right?
with you, Alex.
That's so sick.
Whatever you did, whatever y'all said.
I turned it into a block and an ace.
Yeah, not cool.
Yeah, he's right. Whatever you did, whatever you guys said, not cool. And then he walks away from the table for a bit.
Or Skills Rocks is pissed.
Now you see what I'm talking about? You gonna leave me? Come on, dog. I ain't kicking that foot for shit.
So I think this guy's totally guilty.
He's all in blind.
Whoa. This is just awesome.
If he saw his hands, this is still a terrible play. This is one of the cool and scary things about poker, is that the people that cheat, if they're bad at it, they're gonna get caught. You know, they're gonna get Mike Postled. They're gonna get whatever this guy's name is, Soflode. If they're good at it, this is the scary part. They're probably gonna get away with it, because if you're cheating and you don't make ridiculously obvious plays like this, then you can just carry on cheating. So for every time that we spot a cheater, there's probably at least another person that's cheating and getting away with it, which is kind of scary.
All right, in the next hand.
Oh,
see,
his
we-
eyes
we've
are already
hand three
pointing
of
over. His eyes are just like knowing to look over. And that's something that I actually think I've seen other professionals do, is that when somebody's looking at their cards in a very like whoop kind of way, there's a good percentage of professionals that will just carry on looking at their opponent's cards if they get the chance. So it's, I would say, not the worst thing in the world. I think it's not good. I think everybody should be very honest about it and just say, hey, I saw your cards, and try not to look at each other's cards. But given how prevalent it is in even the high stakes community, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to look at your opponent's cards. Like it's up to his opponent to cover his cards. The one really bad thing so far has been kicking his friend under the table. That to me is really disgusting. There's definitely conceivably an angle if we just drew a straight line from there to there. You can't lean over though. I'm 100%. I don't think leaning over is fine. I don't think so far all I've seen him do is just kind of like look over. I think like doing that would definitely be over the line. So that's a really good point. But I guarantee at least 10%, probably way more of the poker players out there. If I were to look at my cards like this, and they had like an easy direct angle to look at my cards, there'd be at least 10% of people that wouldn't tell me and would just carry on looking at my cards. My personal guess would be that he probably saw both and that he's not quite good enough at poker to be able to make a snap decision like that and just 3x pot jam when he's unsure if the guy could have king 10, something like that, or if the guy has pocket fours or king 4. It would be cool. That would be a weird strategy. Imagine that, like, on purposely showing your opponent your cards, and then if they jam for like 4x pot when you have a weak hand, being like, brother, I call.
Long story short, he does not call.
Together.
Appreciate
He
it.
folds. And when he folds, let's see how Skills Rocks reacts.
This game is
Here it is.
I know he folds. Oh, man.
Fucking alright, my boy. Don't play with me. Don't play with me.
This guy is a tool. He's laughable. It's like...
It's like if you see somebody in a fight in the street, and there's like a couple of drunk people outside of a club, and like the smaller guy just fucking runs up, throws a punch, and the other guy just fucking like trips over his shoelace and falls and is knocked out unconscious. And the small guy's like, yeah, that's what you get. This is what you get when you mess with the power.
I mean, even right now, he looks sus. Right?
He does look very sus. I'll give you that.
Like, looking at him, okay.
It's like the classic shifty eyes, like.
We're not chopping. Okay? I am all in. We're not chopping.
I've got to say, as much as this is borderline not okay, it's pretty clever. It's obviously the only play that you can make to try and win the pot, but he does it in a way that's very, very believable. So you got to give respect where respect is due. Is what I'm saying. You have to be able to be critical of the ethics, but also appreciative of the scam.
Dump it all in one fucking hand. This is how much of a fucking G I am. I love you, bro. If you have a set or a 9, you're garbanzo. Yeah, that's what I said. We're not chopping.
So also...
Yeah, if you're Barry, it's kind of sad, but you kind of just have to fold here. Even if your read is that the other guy doesn't have a jack, your read has to be so correct. It probably has to be like 95% correct for you to justify making this call, because you're calling to chop. And if you call and he does have a jack, then you obviously lose your stack. So you just have to fold in this spot.
wow.
That's how we fucking do it in here.
It's so tilting from Barry's perspective. Because, I mean, not only did he fucking get rivered there in a ridiculous spot, but he's got to fold. You have to fold. It would be a complete punt to call unless you literally see the other guy's cards, which would be fair. Skills wrong. Fair enough. Good play. Bad ethics, and Barry just good play. Good play.
We do it. You feel me? Okay. That's how the fuck we do it, baby.
I need 3,000. I need 1,000.
The other guy fist bumps in.
I'll take that shit all day.
And I think you have to be more nuanced about it. You have to say, like, obviously I don't like the way that he's acting. I think it's bad for the game. I think he's aggravating somebody near him. But this is what's unethical and this is what's not unethical.
Leaning back and staring in the direction of this guy's hand.
The amount of times that I've looked at my cards and I've looked over and I'm just like, does that guy just see my cards? And I'll just like halfway through a hand be like, by the way, did you look at my cards? And then just try and like gauge from their reaction. Obviously they'll always say no, but you try and gauge from their reaction how likely it is. Because some people are like, what? No, what are you talking about? And some people are like, no. The second one's a lie. So yeah, I've had some paranoia in my time about these things. If you want to look at your cards to not have other people look, make sure that you're very like in your area and nobody else is kind of really close to you. Like imagine doing this. You get down like this, look at your cards, peel them up very slightly. You actually only need to look at a small proportion of your cards to be able to see which cards you have.
On ace, jack, queen, 7-8 board. What a genius!
Got it. He does.
Not going to call.
Unreal.
And of course, Barry can't call with a 7.
Dude.
What's up, doggy dog?
What's up, Doggy Dog? Let's go.
4-4-4.
Yeah. All right, guys. What do you think? How bad is it? It's obviously not great. He's looking at his opponent's cards very obviously. He's not telling his opponent. He's even leaning back in his chair to see his opponent's cards. I don't know if it's the worst thing in the world. Just that. Not the kicking his friend bit for a second. And it's definitely bad, but I don't think that that's enough to kick someone out of a casino. He's obviously not an ethical guy. He's not behaving ethically in this spot at least. But just looking at his opponent's cards and acting on it, it's partially on Barry to be able to protect his cards. And it's there's two people at fault here. One of whom is kind of like an innocent victim who's doing something that wrong to not protect himself, and one person who's kind of being a predator, but taking advantage of a spot where somebody else isn't protecting their cards. Kicking his friend under the table, I think, is absolutely terrible, and I think he should probably just be kicked out the casino for that one. Let's just play devil's advocate for a second. Is there any universe where that kick under the table wasn't because it'd seen his opponent's cards? It seems almost impossible, right? It seems almost impossible because he obviously saw his opponent's cards. I mean, he folded 2 pair to fucking 1 bet, so it's not even close in that spot. Could the kick have been accidental? Could the kick have been it just seems so unlikely, doesn't it? It just seems so unlikely. So just to kind of summarize here, I think that it's an entertaining thing. Thanks again to Alex Duval, guys. You can go check out his video and check out his channel. I think that there's a definite tone of people overestimating how bad other things were. I think we could do a vlog analysis after this. I'm actually kind of hungry. I'm gonna get some food. And I think that there's also a tone of kind of like, because this guy Skills Rocks, is it? Skills Rocks is acting like somebody that's kind of hard to get on with, to put it lightly. It's easy to demonize his actions as worse than they are. And we have to be fair about that. We have to put our emotions aside, put our dislikes aside, and say that this is objectively what's okay and this is objectively what's not. So that sounds fun. That was fun. What do you guys think? Is this a fun kind of video? You have a new level of entertainment and enlightenment on morality and ethics. That was a good time, wasn't it?